You okay with doing the intro?
Welcome back to the DraftNinjas.
Welcome to episode 2 of DraftNinjas Podcast, the Game Week 3 review and Game Week 4 preview.
That's right. Yeah.
With Draft Ninja Dan, who's high as a kite off his 2 amazing picks from pick 2 last week, and me, Draft Ninja H.
Yeah, no, what a flipping game week that was. Well, we've got a hell of a lot to talk through this time.
I feel like each week is like becoming, you don't want to talk about the actual football and the team you support, but you're happy to talk about fantasy.
Yeah, alright, mate. Yeah, cheers, bud. No, I don't really want to go on to Man United. I mean, that will be inevitable, but
I should have worn the Tottenham top this week.
Yeah. I mean, that would have pissed me off. But I just feel like we spoke about so much last week, and this game week has just blown it all out of the water.
It's really similar to game week 1.
Last week we were talking about, we had a question around Ozil Mora, and 1 week has completely changed our fucking minds. Like,
yeah,
it's just unbelievable. You know, we think Man United are going to bounce back, change what they can. I actually didn't think they played that badly, to be honest, but that's again just shows they got no flipping centre backs. Like, it's just everything just seems to change. The only thing that didn't change was. Just want to put out there my 2-goal shout for Mitrovic, my absolute boy.
Spot on as well.
Absolute spot on. Said he was going to bag a brace, and he did. So, and I had to back it up with my pick 2, and that's absolutely seen me through, isn't it? To be honest, but we've been saying they've been playing absolutely brilliant. They're a really attacking side. They have been playing well, and it was just a matter of time. I thought, to be honest. Seri with an absolute screamer.
I'm just personally annoyed because Sessegnon wasn't involved in any of those 4 goals. Yeah, somehow
it's difficult because he was their main player last season, and he still hasn't had his moment of like fantasy relevancy. Like
he's had an assist in 3 games.
He's obviously a big threat. He looked great.
Yeah,
it just looks like he seems to be that part before the assist comes or part before the goal. You know, it's becoming a bit of a, but that might just be his new role because now obviously the Championship to the Premiership is a big step up.
I'm willing to hold him for a few more weeks.
I don't know if there's a lot on the waiver. I think he's still a big part of a really attacking side.
Yeah, you're thinking he's one of the main guys there. Yeah. So there are going to be weeks where he's going to be really relevant. You just got to keep playing and hope that the points come in some week.
I think he'll become probably one of those matchup dependent kind of team. Like like, he might even be like maybe a big game player on the counter. He might be against these smaller teams.
That's what I think. I feel like
this Burnley was obviously all about Mitrovic. He dominated them at the back, you know. But maybe if you're thinking that he can nick a goal against the Man City, they've been hit on the break. Yeah. Maybe a Man United where Mitrovic is going to be more involved.
Yeah, I don't think I can bench him.
Yeah, he might be more of a. It'd be interesting to see when they first have their real tough test and see how he plays then and how they get on and stuff like that.
Yeah, for now you just got to keep playing like you say. There's no one on the waiver that's worth picking up or dropping him for.
I think he has probably more value. It's hard to say just because of what he was meant to Tottenham. To Fulham. He was linked with Tottenham, but you know he was linked with all the big teams. Just because of what he meant to Fulham last season, he'd be a very hard player to drop.
Yeah, I think so.
But I mean, the biggest thing we had cause a stir on Twitter was obviously our internal battle between bloody Bernardo Silva and what value does he have going forward. Obviously, we had a lot of people on Twitter chime in. We've had a lot of internal WhatsApp battles, me and you, in terms of what value you think, what value I think. You know, it's got heated at times, and we don't really want to. Let's not try and shout in this podcast, but you know, let's do it.
I'm not going to shout.
No, mate. I mean, it got heated. We try. You know, we obviously don't agree on this, but
no, we do agree. No, that's wrong because we agree that he is valuable, but you don't agree in selling him, whereas I say to sell him now before his value drops. Because we both agree he is valuable.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%. He's the only thing I will give him credit for when we first stated this question, what annoyed me was he was then played out wide. Yeah. Gundogan was put in and Bernardo Silva. If he is considered a wide player, for me his value drops and you sell him because I think out wide he has a hell of a lot of competition in terms of Mahrez and Sterling and Sane.
Well, he's been pushed out there because of the KDB.
Yeah, but I would have seen. My personal opinion was that he was going to come in and play. It was going to be Fernandinho and the 2 Silvers. That's what it looked like in the first game. And then this game, he brought in Gundogan, and he played in there with Silva and Bernardo got pushed out wide. Yeah. So if Pep's going to do that, I'm totally on your side. Get rid of him because I think it's going to be peptation all the flipping time. You're not going to have a fucking clue who's starting in that team out wide.
The only thing that I would argue that from your perspective is Pep saying how this is in pre-season, so we're going a few weeks back now, but he said Bernardo Silva's the only one that's ready. So then you're thinking, well, okay, and he is. So I'm thinking now, this is what I'm saying, the sell high now, and maybe you're starting to lose value because he's just dropped another 2 points on you because he was playing out wide.
Yeah.
You're going to have one more game, then you've got international break, and those players are going to start to be becoming fitter and coming back. So you've got Mahrez coming back, Sané will start, Jesus will start, sometimes up top with Aguero, and maybe at times replace Aguero. But I just think, yeah, okay, that's a completely different argument. But that's why I think if you can right now, there are so many people that are hyped on Silva, such as yourself and other people, that they will give a lot for him. And that's why my example at the time was reaching for someone like Ozil, which is now I wouldn't.
It's a difficult conversation, yeah,
because Ozil's value's gone. Yeah. Ozil's value's completely changed.
And we are just talking about FPL draft, by the way, not Toga at the moment. We're only playing Fantasy Premier League at the moment. We're moving on to Toga, so obviously we realise for some of you it's a completely different conversation.
We're currently auto drafting it.
But yeah, but right now we're talking about in Fantasy Premier League, and yeah, when you brought that up, I was thinking Ozil was the target. I mean, when you're talking about Ali and Eriksen as a target, if there are, to be honest, yeah, if there
that week you could have got
for me, yeah, then I hold my hands up high and 100,000,000%. If you can ever get an Ali or an Eriksen for a Bernardo Silva, oh my, yeah, 100,000,000. But I, as a Ali owner, I would have even on the hype of Bernardo Silva, I was not a million years when I get rid of Dele Alli.
Yeah, different tier, completely different tier.
Yeah, I mean, Ali, even if Bernardo was starting, I think Ali's still a high second round pick. If not, some people took him in the first last year in our draft. Because he got 19 goals in that.
He's a top dude.
He's an absolute. He plays in an advanced position for one of the best attacking teams in the Premier League.
The only thing with Ali that I find is that you're going to get your score, like the score's going to get. He's going to have points taken off him through other players.
Yeah.
So he has the opportunity to go off. But at the same time, he's got Eriksen competing with him, and he's got Son. Now Moura's come in.
Well, yeah, I mean, we thought he was going to have a high scoring game against Fulham because I think Ali had the most touches in the opposition box in his first game, and Fulham conceded the most. So there was a chance that we thought he was going to go off. But Ali has the chances to have his few, but he also has a chance to go off on his 4 games. I don't think Bernardo Silva really. He plays in the best team in the Premier League, but he's not. It's so much Ali is a mainstay. Ali will play week in, unless he's injured, he will play week in, week out. Champions League there, doesn't matter. Ali's still playing in the Premier League. He's young, fit, ready.
This was the argument for me for Ozil. I thought Ozil was that sort of person. Like, I didn't know Emery and him were going to have a bust up, if that is what happened. It was either ill. He's back in contention to play this weekend now, so we don't know. Well, we won't know till after game week 4.
So we got a few people asking us about Ozil. I mean, it looks like he was, even when he's playing, it looks like he's being played out of position. He's playing deep and he's playing out wide, and this is all. I don't know what. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to give Emery an excuse. I've got no idea what he's putting out. It's like Wenger over again. He bought Russian dude, Russian number 10. He was absolutely Arshavin, fantastic in the World Cup at the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously you bought Pavlyuchenko. Was it Pavlyuchenko as well? Because they both had a really. He was playing in the number 10 role and was hyped as this massive, great number 10. Played him out wide and absolutely, it's not his position.
Don't understand it. I don't understand why managers
I don't get why we're paying. Yeah, why Emery's playing, who Mourinho called the best number 10 in the world.
Yeah.
We hear from Arsenal fans all the time. He's the best creative asset. He's to be fair, his stats back it up. He's getting played out wide. It's
19 assists. 15, 16
and his key, the chances created, he's always top pretty much.
But argument wise, he's lived off the back of that one season with the 19 assists, because really every other season since then, I don't think he's got double figure assists. No. So he was like the assist king after that year, and I get it. But I think once he got that new contract, he really dropped off.
It's his chances created as well, because he's always tops with the chances created. So obviously he hasn't really had. I mean, I rate Giroud, but Giroud's not a 20-goal season striker. You could claim that if Lacazette was given the chance, he might do it.
Yeah.
Aubameyang might do it, but if you're playing him out wide. So, we have a lot of people asking us about Ozil, what's going to happen. Arsenal Fan TV are reporting there was a bust up. Twitter's saying he's ill.
It's tough in draft. I think it's a very different way of looking at the game. Again, this is why we think it's going to be so popular. But in normal FPL now, you just drop him and get someone else in, because it doesn't matter to
you. Can bring him back.
But if you've drafted him in second, third round,
which is
roughly,
why I had him
third, fourth.
Yeah, third, isn't it? Because obviously I had Salah, then Ali, and then Ozil for my first.
So
pick,
you know that's a real high pick. You know that tier's high.
I don't really want to be trading down for someone who you bought in the 5th round. For me,
eventually you might have to.
I probably will
right now.
Because I mean, if someone offered me Walcott right now for Ozil, I'd probably take it, because obviously Everton have got one of the best schedules coming up right now, and he is on absolute fire. Over Charleston's out, so I think Walcott is going to be one of a very valuable player.
Yeah.
So where did you probably took him, like the 7th round or something?
I took him really late.
Yeah.
I took him so late.
So that's what I'm saying.
And I thought I was trading his value.
You thought you were trading it
to get Lacquer in.
I think Ozil's value is not getting any lower right now. I think
I wouldn't trade him right now. I don't think there's a point in trading him.
I don't think you're going to get much value.
I think you see how this situation plays out.
If he has had a bust up, if he comes back in, where's he playing? If he's still playing out wide, then you might have to take a fucking hit. But
do you reckon you will?
I probably have to. I can't comfortably start him. I'm struggling to start him right now. He's not, even when he's playing, he's not getting me points. He's getting criticised by his man. It's depressing me. It's absolutely depressing me as a fucking Ozil owner.
It is tough.
It kills me the fact that I took a third round pick on the Barca.
My advice on it would be to hold him till after international break. See what happens this week.
Yeah.
Let the international break happen.
So obviously he's not going away. He gets another week to himself.
Yeah. Comes back.
I
think that will really rejuvenate and change a lot of squads.
That's it. I think his value's not much lower. You're not going to get much for him. I think you have to hold and see and let the kind of. It's that whole. I don't want to tell you to sit on the fence, but you kind of have to with this kind of.
For this, yeah. Isn't it? So I guess the argument, because I didn't want to make it about Bernardo Silva versus Ozil, because they are in two completely different situations right now. And when it was made, they wasn't. But now it's
that's what we say. Like this whole game week is just absolutely. We had that before the weekend started. We had this, the argument about it, and now everything's completely changed. It's just
can't get heated about it now.
Mental. Absolutely fucking mental.
I think. So people were asking about what to do with the Silva thing that I said. I think that you either get into the point where you try to shift him before he loses more value, mainly based upon they have one more week before the international break, and then that rotation will happen. So you can either wait for this weekend, see if he's playing out wide again, and see if he's going to be played out position, because if he's not bringing in points in a 6-goal win, and then again this weekend being played out position, and then Man City not getting a result, you're going to start thinking, well, Man City going to get a result at these away at these smaller teams where they're locking it out and he's playing people out position.
And Gundogan had a really good game in that centre midfield. And that might be how Pep's looking at it. Like Gundogan can do. Obviously, Fernandinho's their defensive midfielder, but Gundogan can be that link.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're playing Silva, they're both very similar players.
Yeah.
And
David Silva is a boss.
David Silva is a fucking god.
Even his age, he's an absolute
completely
ball
genius. Yeah. So yeah, it might be that when I was having that conversation, that I was considering Bernardo in the middle with David. But if
would you sell him high?
Huh?
Would you sell him? Or would you keep him?
This is the thing. I had this argument with you, but right now, I'd probably sell him. I think his future is out wide, and there's too much competition out there. People are still going to be gunning for him, I think, because he's in that team. KDB's out. Push the KDB argument. I think if you're going for a trade, guys, you push the KDB argument. Do what I was doing. And I reckon someone will go for it. Someone will be like,
someone will buy.
Someone will go for it.
And you can say,
someone who's not doing maybe who's not looking.
Yeah, who haven't been watching the games, have not seen that he's been pushed out wide. Look, he get another 8-point game.
Yeah, that's it. He's playing in the best team in the Premier League. They've still got the easiest schedule. I think they've still got another
second easiest to Arsenal. In the next 6.
Yeah, that's it. They still got four of the top. Still the 3 promoted teams or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're 4th
Newcastle, Fulham, Cardiff. And
Brighton. So your next 4 game weeks are sorted.
Absolutely killing it.
So push. There's a chance to sell him, it's now with these fixtures. Yeah, you might get bitten short term.
Push the KDB argument out. Push the fixtures 100%. They got, and just try and sell him as you can. Definitely.
There you are. Sorted that one.
Right, so we didn't argue about it. I'm pretty happy with that. It didn't get heated. We actually came to it. I think maybe if it got a bit heated, it would have been better for the pod. But
depends. Well, actually, no. It would have got heated if the situation hadn't changed over the weekend. But it
you should have.
I called it, so I'm quite happy with that.
One thing that did obviously get us bloody heated was obviously the Tottenham Man United score. Lucas bloody Moura.
I've been hot on this guy.
What a fucking game he had.
Yeah. We've been asking for this as Spurs fans since we signed him from PSG in January last year. Every time he played in those League Cup games or in Premier League games where he's come on off the bench when we had in the Champions League, so we needed to rotate the squad a bit. He was always the guy who was up and at him, running for 90 minutes, like will not stop, like full on Poch style player, and then he'd get dropped back to the bench the next week, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Like no one knows why.
Yeah, and I think they were saying after the game, they were talking about obviously this is the kind of player because obviously you struggle away from home against the big teams before, isn't it? That's what they were saying. And now it looks like you've got that player who, when you hit the I mean, I don't really know if there's much Smalling can do. It's just that push and pace.
Shoved it past him.
What can you do when you're 1-on-1 and someone has just got that blistering pace to get past you? And then what a finish as well. I think he's absolutely smashed it into the flipping corner. Yeah. Like, you can't do anything about that.
I mean, Spurs fans got a bit excited and they said they were comparing him to Bale and stuff, which I think is a bit much because of the pace and the finishing. I
get it because Bale didn't obviously do many tricks. It was
just push, go,
and pure pace.
And people keep up with you. The comparison is basically to say that we haven't had a player like that since Bale, is what they should be saying.
Scary pace, and the finishing was just, he pummeled it home.
You can see why we paid the money for him.
But I mean, what egg...
Which was only paid 25 million.
What absolute egg... was it anything else?
Really cheap.
Decent. But what egg... Well, gave us bloody egg on our face properly. I mean, obviously we got brought up last week on the pod, Ozil for Moura, and we were talking about Lamella, Son, and everyone else who was in competition
in the future down the line.
But obviously Son, well, hopefully he's in the finals. So hopefully he wins the finals. He doesn't have to go away to the army. So
18 months. So.
If he doesn't do that, then we have another conversation around Moura because that's
the competition. I just think Son finds it hard to get back in the squad again.
I can't see how they can. What's that? 3 goals in the last 2 games. Yeah. Now he's your highest scorer at Old Trafford
in one game. Harry Kane's not happy about that. He will take points off Harry Kane though, because the way that Tottenham set up that game was so different.
Only for the big games. At the back. Are you talking only about the big games though?
I think the big games. Okay. We'll go 4 at the back. Toby is clearly now well back into the lineup. I didn't expect that at all this season. I thought he'd be on the fringes, used if we needed during the group games of the Champions League, and sell him to United in January. I don't think that's happening at all. I think that's completely.
See, I had Toby
in the hope that would happen,
and I dropped him when he wasn't. I was obviously a bit rash, but I dropped him obviously after game week 1 when I thought.
Sanchez and
that's pretty much done, and they look good. I was like, oh well, there's no point having Toby.
And I drafted Sanchez, because he's nailed on start.
Do you know what I mean? And that's it. And it's completely changed now. Toby was for me one of the best players who was out there last night.
Amazing.
He got I think he got 2 bonus points as well because he made that many.
He made
blocks.
the clearance off the line.
Made that many.
Not off the line, but like towed it away from the
He made that many blocks, that many interceptions. He won that many headers. He was just fucking everywhere. I was hoping he'd score an own goal because he wants that contract at United, but.
It was already too late by that point.
But I mean, what value do we put on Moura now? I mean, if someone offers me Moura for Ozil, I'd take that in a heartbeat. Surely.
Yeah, I'm not giving you that.
I can't. No. But I'm talking obviously about. I think it was Ed.
In general,
I think it was Ed on our Twitter asked us about Ozil Moura. But
yeah.
Is he a mainstay now? Do we see his?
I think the points that he's going to give you in this time while Son's out, which is really only likely to be this game week. International break and then Son comes back. But what we were discussing with other Tottenham fans was when that international game breaks back and Son comes back, Son has not had a break. He was at the World Cup, he's come back for a week and he's gone straight back to the Asian games. And he played in that week when he didn't.
And if they don't win that final, is the rumour is, or is that a trick?
Well, no, it was to get to the final. So now we don't know.
Oh, so we don't know what's going to happen.
So we don't know.
Oh, okay,
so we'll find out. I guess.
Right.
But we were under the belief that if they reached the final, he has done enough for the country to be honourable. But it's a real sticky, weird situation. And I'm surprised that Daniel Levy let that be like.
I guess
there must be a thing in his contract.
Really argue about. Oh yeah, because obviously can't still pay him if he.
Surely not.
If he's going to be in the army for 2 years or whatever.
Maybe it must be some sort of agreement there.
But I mean, going back to Lucas Moura anyway. I mean, Tottenham obviously got a great schedule coming up. I think it's Watford next.
Yeah.
Their hard game in the next
Liverpool,
5. I think it's only Liverpool.
And last year we absolutely turned them over.
So we've got Watford, Liverpool, Brighton. Is it? I don't know.
What we got? I think
Watford, Liverpool, Brighton, Huddersfield, Cardiff, and West Ham. What a flipping...
Only Liverpool at home.
What a flipping
I don't
games.
find that Liverpool games that tough. We rinsed them last time at Wembley. I think they look more powerful this year. They've kept 3 clean sheets. They do look good. But I challenge anyone to come to Wembley and beat us. We didn't lose there last year. So
do we think Moura could be on the waiver for anyone? Because honestly, it was only Tottenham fans who were really high on him, wasn't it? Was you?
Well, because we watched him last year.
I loved him at PSG. He was linked with United before he even went to PSG.
Yeah.
He was always that kind. But
yeah,
I don't know, was anyone talking about him? Was any of you Tottenham boys talking about him before?
Well, Moura, yeah. Moura's been on the hot topic for since January last year.
So I guess really, unless you have a Tottenham fan in your league, he's most likely probably not in the waivers.
I don't think he'll be on the waivers because he's in that attacking system at Spurs, and after the goal the week before against Fulham, I think people would have been like, okay, if they've got someone who's not got they would have just picked him up just on the off and then got lucky.
And his value would have gone sky high, so he's not.
Yeah, now his value's massive.
He's not even really a trade target, is he? But
I mean, the only thing that you can gamble is if you have Moura, you can now use this as a chip to be like, you think that Son's going to come back, and then you can angle a trade.
Who do you go for? You go for
who do you reach for with someone like Moura?
Yeah.
I personally, I'm not interested in trading him at all. If someone came to me now and offered me Sterling, even though I own Sterling as well, I wouldn't even take that for Moura.
Would you take an Aguero?
Even though I have him.
I mean,
I'm trying to think of players that I would like to attain in the league.
Would you go for a Firmino?
Maybe
for a Firmino
because he'll start for the whole season.
And he's
but
getting
the thing is, Moura has the potential if he gets in this team the whole season to be the highest scoring midfielder in the league.
I don't think that's a bad little shout though. Maybe if you're not, maybe a Firmino. Yeah, I think maybe a Firmino you might go for. Yeah. I think
if you've got the space in the roster to
if you've got like a good midfielder ready, maybe you haven't got a striker. Maybe you draft.
Maybe I'll do that this week. Mate. Maybe I'll go for Firmino.
If you haven't got a striker, as I'm saying, because if your midfield's sorted,
I've got Lacazette and Aguero.
I went for obviously. We know what might happen with Lacazette. He might want to go.
Yeah.
If you have Aguero though, it's not for you. But I'm thinking maybe there's
literally no.
Maybe there's another Lucas Moura owner out there who's got flipping David Silva. They've got so many midfielders, but up front they've got Josh King, Chris Wood, and they're struggling.
Yeah, well,
so maybe they might want to. Maybe they want to flip it. Yeah, maybe they want to use Moura's absolute hype right now and go for a Firmino.
Yeah, I think if you've got the opportunity to sell on the hype, I would still consider it if you really need to. I'm not going to sell him because I think he brings too much.
I'm just
value
thinking of a striker depth.
If you don't have it, yeah.
If you have a ton of midfielders, and that's what you stocked up on, and now Lucas Moura's hype has just gone insane.
Yeah, like Silva's did.
You can jump on a Firmino
before it blanks twice.
Because what's Firmino done? He's got a couple of assists. He hasn't really been scoring yet.
Oh, he looks so good though, dude. I really, really do think if he plays all year,
oh god, he will. He's their that's what I'm saying. He's going to bag you goals. So I think you can jump on the Moura hype and maybe it's worth a shot in it. I think there's a chance.
Maybe.
See who it is.
But Moura looks great.
No, that's
the golden goose, the golden boy for me.
Golden boy, you fucking prick.
Right, I love how happy he is. What a dude.
So you going on to waivers and trades and stuff like that. Who is right now? Who are you thinking for any potential waiver trade targets? You got anything in mind for any of the listeners out there?
I picked up someone a couple of weeks ago, probably a bit prematurely, but I think that this is something that others need to consider now. And he might not necessarily been spotted because he hasn't played yet. But Yerry Mina for Everton is a great idea in terms of Everton's schedule is coming up is insanely positive. I think they're the second best in the league over the next 6.
In terms of schedule.
Yeah, but I think Yerry's going to miss the next game and then international break. So this is a chance to get him after international break, he'll be the solid star at the back.
You reckon?
100%.
Who they got at the back?
They're too high on him. They're like Jagielka's just sealed his fate by getting sent off the other week. I don't think he's going to see the light of day again at the club. Maybe in rotation in later on, but I just don't see it. So really, they've spent that money to get him. You know, Barcelona made a tidy profit on him too, and they will be looking to use him. I don't see.
He looked all right in the World Cup. I think him and Sanchez obviously looked a bit dodgy at the beginning, but what do we think?
I think they both ended up looking good.
Everton look good. So because I'm trying to think, Yerry Mina got a few goals as well, hasn't he?
3 goals in the World Cup.
3 goals
for a centre back.
3 goals in the World Cup, and Everton are, because of their schedule, there could be some clean sheets. Go for it. It's really tough. I think because he hasn't played, maybe some people have done what you've done and because of where he's come from as well. If it wasn't coming from Barcelona, they might have not been, but they're still because he hasn't played.
I think if you can afford the risk, you would take him and stash him. Like it's a sleeper. It's
3 goals in a World Cup's no joke, kind of thing. And
he does that. If you can sculpt your corners and stuff around that, the guy will leap and get those sort of goals.
So
you want defenders who ideally have the threat at the other end, because if you don't get the clean sheet, then you know he can probably turn up with a header and get a goal in a game where they lose 3-1, and then all of a sudden you got Yerry Mina that is there.
You want a defender who's going to score your goals.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of people.
And Everton over the next 6 games have the potential to do both. Him get you a goal and keep a clean sheet. I think Arsenal's only really their toughest game, isn't it? Yeah.
And so, this is really similar in terms of the reason why so many people signed VVD. Like when he was a goal. He is a goal
going
threat at the other end.
Monster of a man, isn't he? Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen him score for a while, but he is a goal.
But now they're doing the opposite. They're actually keeping fucking clean sheets.
So he's doing that. For me, I think if you can afford to stash Mina till after the international break and get in ahead of other people, he could really, even if you don't need him and you want someone that's going to up in value that you can get a decent trade off, but later. Do it. No, I'm stashing him. I can't even afford to do it because of Bailly and Sanchez now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's really gone south.
Probably just drop by. I don't think he has any trade value.
Do you not think Bailly's going to come back into the side?
I think he'll come back into the side, but because I don't think Jose Mourinho even knows who his best centre backs are right now. I think
Jones did Jones pick up an injury there?
He was hot, but Jones is always flipping injured. He's a walking bloody injury. I mean,
so I might hold Bailly into international.
I'd say the only. I say Smalling's pretty much the guaranteed star. He's on our waiver right now, but it's whether you trust the United defence right now. I think the only defender you really want in that back 4 is probably Luke Shaw.
100%.
Oh my God, the kid just looks rejuvenated.
He's doing so well.
He's attacking for it. He's putting on more crosses. He'll get you bonus points as well, just because of his interceptions and his crosses and stuff like that.
I was worried about him, but then I saw last week and this week that Ashley Young was on the bench. So that means he's really got that position at the moment.
But that's what I'm saying. So Shaw's got that position now down. Mourinho, for once, praised him after in a flipping interview, and he deserved it. I think Fred first half looked good, but obviously everyone trailed off second half. But Shaw was the only one I really felt could hold his head high throughout that whole game.
I don't think you trailed off. I don't think you trailed off. I think that we stepped up our attack.
Well, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I mean,
I thought Fred was impressive.
We still had, we still had like most possession, more. We had more shots, more everything.
Yeah, I thought Fred was really impressive. I just don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant.
No, I can't.
He's very deep, isn't he?
Well, I just think, but then the first 12 seconds he had that opportunity in the box.
Yeah, he did have the shot. Yeah.
It looks like with Neman. I mean, depends how because fucking knows what Jose Mourinho is going to do. He played Herrera at right centre back. Like, that's probably what gave Fred that more to move on. You know, but if he goes back, where does
it's tough. It's so tough.
Yeah,
it's not why. I guess with Man United, it's a very similar situation to City in the fact that Mourinho will rotate and he will.
Yeah, I think the only. Well, I'd say the only mainstays are like Pogba and stuff. Even last season, Pogba got dropped. Lukaku is pretty much guaranteed to start week in, week out. He loves him. He loves his work. He does. It's a difficult situation for Lukaku because I obviously missed that fucking open goal and that header and stuff like that. Like absolute idiot.
Not much an open goal as Lukaku missed.
Yeah, but I mean, he does love him. He holds the ball up well for us. It does, But it's hard to say who the mainstays are in that United team because
Lingard's
gonna. I've got Lingard and I struggle to start Lingard.
Do you feel like stay away from United at the moment, really.
Yeah.
Until we can see...
Until he finds a team... Because you know what Mourinho's like, and he did it at Chelsea. Once he has his 11, he then once he finds a formula for him that works, I just don't think he's finding that formula right now. No. He's really struggling.
He needed a centre-back.
Yeah.
He needed 2 centre-backs.
Well, but the problem is, they said on the flipping thing, they said the reason maybe they didn't give him a centre-back is because he is the one who bought Bailly and Lindelof, who are both struggling. So it's like, we've already bought you 2 centre-backs. You want another one?
Yeah, they weren't the answer. I think Lindelof's way out of his depth.
He looks completely
in that game, I was just like...
The only argument I'd have is that he bought Bailly and Lindelof. Yeah, you're saying, we already got you 2, we don't want to buy you another one. But the 2 you're looking to buy are both Toby Maguire? Fucking actor?
Nice.
Toby Alderweireld.
And
Why have I got
Harry.
Why have I got Toby Maguire? Yeah, Harry Maguire. Yeah. That's why. Toby Alderweireld and Harry Maguire. Yeah. Both Prem proven, you know. Yeah. So they're not as much of a risk as fucking Bailly and Lindelof.
But I'm just going to rewind this back to before Bailly had that atrocious game the week after I fucking traded him in. All you Man United are hyping him, saying he's fantastic. He's a beast. He's an animal. He's going to smash it.
Last season he was one of
I trade him in. So I was like, trade him in. I said it was Baines, but it wasn't Baines. It was Coleman. Because I knew I was going to get Mina off the waiver. So I was like, well, I'm already going to get an Everton defender, that's fine. And he was only supposed to be out for 1 game at the time. So I went for a bit of a nifty move. And Bailly is absolutely criminal in their defeat against... Gets dropped. Mina's out till after international break. And then Sanchez gets dropped from Spurs. It just went chaos. It went crazy. And that's... that's draft. That's why the game's so great.
Oh, I love it, man. But yeah, no. Anyway, yeah.
So that's my waiver.
That was your waiver, yeah. So my waiver pick was a bit. It's not really out there. It's Alex Iwobi, to be honest. It's Alex Iwobi from Arsenal. Arsenal, the next 6 games they have the best schedule out of anyone. Well, they got Cardiff next, Newcastle, Everton, Watford, Fulham, and Leicester, I think. So if you go on any of the websites in terms of ease of schedule, Arsenal are now coming into a great run of form, and a great schedule coming up. Mm-hmm. Alex Iwobi has obviously played, I think it's a game and a half, because he got brought off at half time last time. I think obviously for Lacazette, but I think it might be an injury, I don't know. But his last 2 games, he's gotten a goal and assist. He's averaging about 1.5 key passes a game. She's creating these great chances. There's a chance for more assists and more goals. Obviously, Lacazette not playing. There's a bit of upset with Lacazette as well. There's upset with Lacazette and with Ozil.
It's tough, isn't it?
There's these rumours that come out today. Before we started this pod, we were about to praise Lacazette. Maybe he's about to have his chance because he looks great again.
Came on at half time.
Got an assist.
Got the assist. Changed the game for him. Playing with Alba. You're like, right.
We're about Emery, to come on here and absolutely praise him. And now flipping, we're reading articles that he wants out.
And we're like, Emery's gonna start changing his mind.
What is going on in Arsenal? It's crazy. I don't
know what to trust.
That is why for me, Alex Iwobi he's on our waiver. I don't think many people. He's a gamble if you have like a spot on your bench. He could, with Ozil not wanting to be there, or maybe not in favour with Emery.
Yeah.
Lacazette not in favour with Emery and maybe wanting to drop out. There's that space in the wing for Iwobi.
2 opportunities.
And right now he's doing the bits.
Yeah.
Goal and assist in his last 2 games.
Yeah.
The schedule they got coming up. I really think there's a good chance here that he's going to start doing bits. If you have a spot, maybe especially if you have a Cardiff player, because Cardiff have got a fucking shit game coming up.
Cardiff is a definite avoid right now.
So if you have maybe a Cardiff player in the midfield, if Iwobi sat there on the bench, pick him up as soon as possible. My personal opinion, pick him up.
Yeah, he's worth a gamble.
He's gonna get minutes,
and you can start him in the confidence that he might get some points for you. And if it's a head-to-head league, that's what you need now.
In terms of the stats, the key passes, he's creating chances right now, and this is only in a game and a half. We can sit here and go, he hasn't played that much, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he's looking good. In the little he's played, but he's looking good, and the schedule is right there. So that's my one. That'd be Iwobi. That's who I'm targeting. But you're above me, so it doesn't really matter. So you can't get
top of the league, mate. Top of the league.
Same record though.
Yeah, but the points. I will talk about the points all year long, because if you were top of the league by points, you sure as hell would be talking about it.
Another And I mean, I've seen people talking about him on Twitter anyway, so he might not be available, but he is currently available in ours, is Bernard for Everton.
Yeah, again,
so
reaching for the Everton players.
Because it's just their schedule again, second best schedule over the next 6 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, Richarlison's out.
Yeah.
Red card. Bernard wasn't on. He's not on the bench tonight because obviously Everton are playing right now whilst we're recording this. He's not on the bench. So I don't know whether he's match fit or what's going on there.
Yeah, see another one that I think if you can afford to stash and see what happens after the international break.
I mean, they were hyped on him. Loads of Everton fans were hyped on him. People were even talking about Walcott being dropped for Bernard. Yep. They were like, Walcott's don't. Start trading Walcott. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing all this stuff on Twitter whilst we're looking around. Trade Walcott, Bernard's
and I got him in, and I traded him.
And now what's that? Walcott 2 goals in 2 games, or 3 goals in 2 games, something like that. And with the schedule coming out, Walcott should be one of the high trade flipping targets. So you know, if you ever spot to stash with Richarlison being out, there's a good chance that
Richarlison's out for 3 games, right?
Three. I think it's straight red, isn't it? Yeah, three games. Yeah.
I think. Even if you only get 2 games out of Bernard,
if you have the spot, it could be a streaming spot, and he's I think for me worth the gamble. So
I guess
pretty sure he'll be there on your waiver.
Silver's sides are set up to attack, and they did it at Watford, and he's come over to Everton. He's done the same thing. He's still made them a real attacking team. They don't know how to defend anymore, but they really are attacking. A real fun to watch attacking side.
He did it when he first went to Watford, didn't he?
Exactly.
And, Richarlison looked great when he first was at Watford.
So he's doing the same with him here.
He's doing the exact fucking same thing.
But he's got better players here. Like Sigurdsson, I think the Sigurdsson owner in our league was tempted to get rid of Sigurdsson, like trying to put him in trades because
everyone was not sure how Watford were going
to do or Everton were going to do with him, and then. Okay, he hasn't really kicked off yet, but he has the options to do that now. Like, there is a way. Like, Everton are far more attacking now than they were under fucking Sam Allardyce, who's doing this long ball crap which just doesn't suit Siggy. I think Siggy will grow into this season and pick up value. So that's someone that you could target as a buy low right now, and I think that's a good target if you are a Bernardo Silva owner or a Lucas Moura owner and you want to try and get in before they start kicking off. I think targets like Everton right now, good targets. Sigurdsson you could probably still get quite low. That would be something that I'd be looking at in terms of trades and stuff. So the final guy that we were looking at is Wan-Bissaka, back from his suspension, with Crystal Palace having the second easiest run of games in the league.
Third, I think.
Is it third?
Yeah.
Third easiest run of the game. Either way, they really do have a great
They're not even playing any one of the top teams at all in the next 6 games. Yeah. Everton, I think, is their hardest game coming up, probably.
And 3 home ties.
3 home ties, yeah. 3 home ties.
So, I just think that they're not fighting amongst any of the top 6. So any of those games, even if they're in the 2 or 3 bracket for difficulty, they have an opportunity to get a result. I don't think that there's that much difference between those 2 types of games. So I think they looked so strong when he was playing as well in terms of like a defensive shape. They look a lot better with him in it, and you can see in his suspension period, Palace are conceding goals again. So he also offers you an attacking threat, and I just think it's mad if someone's dropped him like they have in our league. And he's on your waiver.
Yeah. I mean, good
because of the suspension. Get in ahead of that and go for it.
But they look again fantastic. He looks brilliant. We have a Crystal Palace fan we're talking onto Insta, aren't we? That, he's hyped about him.
He said everyone's hyped about him though, so it might not be a clue. But if people would have.
If someone's dropped him.
Yeah. In a suspension,
as they've done for us in our
because league. Someone might be in a desperate situation in draft. This is why draft's so unique, because they get into a situation where they've got no defenders playing. They're like, crap, we need to drop him because you know he's not going to play. And so it's a definite target for someone to pick up, 100%.
I did also try to highlight maybe a few tiny trade ones. You try to do this little tiny wheeling and dealing kind of thing, like just the little ones. Maybe if you have, I'm trying to think, a Moutinho at Wolves. If you have someone like that who's just come off an assist, maybe you might be able to get a Gross from Brighton.
Yeah.
So I think Wolves probably do have an easier schedule coming up, But in the next 2 games, Brighton have an easier,
like 2, like to stream.
Yeah, just little streams. So I was just trying to look for maybe smaller teams that obviously Gross is going to be a popular one, and Glenn Murray is still.
Yeah, so you kind of want to get him in.
But if you try to, I think Wolves do have. Yeah, they do have an easier schedule over the next 6 games. So I think in the next 2 games, Grosson and Murray might come good. So, we tried to look at Moutinho for even a waiver pickup, but even when he was at Monaco and he helped them for their great season, he only still picked up about 6 assists.
It was really hard to pick up the stats on him.
Yeah, he seems like more of those, like a Michael Carrick who was always great, but never really a fantasy great.
Yeah, we're not saying they're not great players, it's just they're not fantasy relevant. And there's a big difference. That's it.
We can seriously be like Kante was he's
Kante is one of the best
forward now, but
in the league.
When Chelsea won the league, he was the best defensive midfielder in the league.
Leicester and Chelsea, both years, but fantasy relevance 0.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so Moutinho, he got an assist against Man City. Great assist.
Creative player.
But he plays a bit deeper for Wolves, and he was playing deep for Monaco. And the only stats I could really find of him, he played like 33 games for Monaco, and he only got like 6 assists. So for fantasy, you're looking at kind of a lottery ticket.
So you want to try and be like use that assist. So
if you've got Moutinho and he's just got an assist against Man City, I personally think Gross is more involved. He's their penalty taker. I think
Gross is a high value.
He's a higher value. So there might be someone in the league who are looking at Brighton. There might be I'm using my words here, but you might have a chance to maybe trade a Moutinho for a Gross, and in the next 2 games,
because they'll be looking at the
that's
2
it. So I'm just trying to look,
and you might get you get Gross in or Murray,
and Gross is
they score a couple of goals in those 2 games. You can trade up value again.
Gross is a mainstay as well in that Brighton side. He's one of their most influential players
in their tough fixtures. Though I don't know if you can play him.
No, as I say, obviously after Fulham and Southampton, they got Tottenham and Man City. So
it's tough. It's no Cardiff,
but
it's tough.
Man City. Have they kept a clean sheet? 1 clean? They obviously 6.
Opening game.
Opening game. But obviously then it was 6-1, and then 1-1. Obviously, so they but no, that's all those. Maybe a Brighton player over the next 2 games is a good kind of target to go for.
I think so. If you can get the value in the starting 2, then because they kept the clean sheet against Arsenal. Yeah. So keep the clean sheet against Arsenal, and then concede to a lot lesser opponents.
Well, cool. All right, on to the Q&A then, just to finish off the podcast. Let me just grab up the questions. Got quite a few questions this week, to be honest. So
your Twitter's doing really well at DraftNinjas.
Good response. I'm
always
glad,
live.
I'm glad that loads of people are getting involved.
Yeah, and you're we're interacting quite.
Yeah,
pretty much 24 hours.
I pretend I work at work, and I'm just sat on Twitter just talking to all you guys. I've seen a couple of people talk about Milner, so Milner's come up. So we got Richard, our Australian outlet. Big shout out to Richard. He's been very active, very supportive from day one of us.
Wear the Australia top. I'll wear Socceroos top
next time, Richard will wear it, mate. But yeah, so he's asked. James Milner is still available on the waiver wire in my league. Is he worth having a stab at? I'm nervous he'll drop out of the Liverpool starting 11.
No, he won't.
No, I can only imagine the nerves are coming there because obviously Fabinho, but James Milner is just having. He's their penalty taker, free kick taker. He's not their captain, is he?
At times, yeah.
At times, is he? But he's fantastic. He's just looks so flipping good.
In pre-season, they were raving about how good he looked.
And Keita gets taken off before Milner does. He just looks, because he's obviously doesn't do his international.
No.
He looks fantastic.
He's rejuvenated. I don't think he'll be rotated out of that side.
I can't see.
They love him far too much. Klopp loves him far too much.
I mean, he doesn't play. The only person I can see, because obviously when Henderson was coming back, it was Keita. He's taken off. Last game he took. I think last 2 games he's taken off Keita.
Yeah, Henderson's not starting. It's Henderson that's not.
It's
starting.
Henderson who's struggling. Milner and Fabinho doesn't play the same position as Milner. So I can only see that.
It'd only be Hendo.
If Milner is there, I would jump all over him.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if you can afford to, and there's someone that in your midfield is worth dropping, I would do it.
I think they're going to win penalties. Obviously, with Salah and Mane, the pace they have running and cutting inside, and he gets there.
He's their main dude for it.
And when they need to whip in a ball, it's kind of It's either him or I think even Trent Alexander-Arnold for some reason. But
takes the free kick.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really was looking at it the other day and I was like, is TA available on our waiver?
He's gone.
Because I was really surprised at that. That's mad.
But I mean, I think Richard sent in his team as well. So let's just have a look whether he is.
You can look at the team.
Just see whether he has any space to.
But yeah, I think if you've got space to do it as a stash, I would. I wouldn't remove any top players from him though.
No,
because there is the example that he could lose. They could lose players there. Milner is their penalty taker, but I just think if Henderson is only being rested because of his England duties, or he's got a knock, that he might come in to replace Milner. That's all I can say.
So he's got Milivojevic from Palace.
Droppable.
David Silva, not droppable. Philippe Anderson, who probably a week ago I would have said drop the hell out of him.
Didn't you drop him?
Let's not talk about that.
Did you drop him?
Yeah, I did drop him.
And didn't you get an assist?
I dropped him. Week ago I would have said drop him, but at Arsenal he looked fucking great.
Drop with Dan. That's going to be a new segment.
If I drop him, don't drop them because they're going to be good.
Yeah, can you just tell everyone on Twitter every time you drop them? Hashtag drop with Dan.
Tweet everyone I drop and
you guys just don't do it.
But yeah, Lingard, who again we're talking about Mourinho rotation policy. Obviously Milner's I think's a face, and then Yarmolenko. So I was
holding two West Ham midfielders.
That's what I was talking about. I was talking to Richard on Twitter. I did say, don't think it's worth holding two West Ham players.
You don't stack them; they're too poor.
And if I want to drop one out of Felipe Anderson, Yarmolenko, even though last night he was fantastic, and I've been speaking to a few West Ham fans, they do think he will eventually start over Antonio. The only problem I have with having two West Ham players is you don't want to stack. Would you ever be confident starting Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko in the same draft team? I don't think they both, unless for some reason.
I'm not a fan of West Ham really at the moment. I think they're in real trouble.
I think they'll improve. I think Pellegrini's a great manager.
They're just getting used to the system. Again, they're not used to the system. It's like Arsenal at Emery are not used to the system. Chelsea have just fallen straight into a real comfortable system with Sarri. It's different.
My personal position would probably be to drop Milivojevic, can't even say bloody name.
So you would stack the two West Ham players?
I think Yarmolenko over the next few weeks would get trade value.
So you're thinking in terms of
not to start them.
Both of them at some point are going to be valuable.
I think they'll be valuable for trade. I don't think Milivojevic will probably have that much trade value coming forward.
Doesn't take the penalties though. He takes the penalties.
Yeah, do Crystal Palace get that many penalties? And I know you kind of want to always have those players.
Palace's schedule, mate. Palace got a great schedule coming up. So if you're dropping him,
it's tough. But I think Milner over either Millie and Yarmolenko. Either one of those, I think has more value than both of those. So you want to be dropping one of them for Milner. That's my personal opinion.
Fair.
On to the next question. Rich has asked us a few, to be fair. Okay. Do you want to read out that question from?
Why
Sorry, buddy. I don't know if we can say.
Why Burleon? Why Burleon? I don't know. At Why Burleon. Keep Sané. If not, what other choices should you go for?
I had a few Sané questions on Insta and Twitter.
Because people get itchy feet over Sané, and I'm just the same every time to everyone. It's hold. You're not going to get any value for him. Don't drop him, because I mean I had the same on Instagram, didn't I? So I might as well just copy paste what I've basically said online. Is Sané's not going to get you any value right now. People are scared of Peptation, and they're scared that he's not going to get any game time, and all of a sudden. But look at the history here. Yeah. Sané gets points. He plays. The season's a long old season.
When Champions League
when Champions League kicks in and stuff, the rotation, you're going to want someone that's going to get you some points, and he will get you points over the course of the season.
I guess it's kind of another one of the Ozil things. Like his value's not going to get any lower right now, but there's no point. He's too valuable to probably let on the waivers.
Yeah. So, unless someone gives you a mad deal in some sort of crazy trade where they're not thinking straight, where you can get someone who's near that value.
If you can't afford to stash, who would you target?
If you can't afford to stash.
If you can't afford to stash, what kind of targets do you think should be going for in terms of
with Sané, and trade him and sort of try and tell them like it's a season long and hope that they agree.
Yeah.
Your value wise, you're not looking at much right now. I'd maybe even target the KDB owner.
Oh, yeah. Because obviously he's out for three months, isn't he?
He's missing a majority.
I mean, it doesn't help if you need someone now, but if you have the opportunity to stash, you just don't want to stash Sane.
There you are.
Not there. Okay.
I think that he would. You're not going to lose value in the long term because if anything, you're gaining value in the long term. If you really believe in the long term,
because KDB's coming back.
When he comes back, he's in that side.
He's in the team. That's
so, yeah, you're going to lose half a season, but you're going to get value in the back end of the season. So, but if you can't afford to stash, so you won't be able to go for someone like KDB, I would try and reach for a player. You're not going to get much though, dude. Like, you really aren't. I would look at schedule. Who's got what coming up, and look at Crystal Palace midfielders because they're not that valuable, really. I look at who else we got. Everton midfielders, see if you can snag someone.
I don't see again. Before this week, I would have said maybe go for Theo Walker, but you ain't gonna get Theo Walker.
No, not even for Sané. You might be able to.
Would you be able to get Richarlison right now? Red card.
Maybe for the suspension.
Out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm still convinced Sané will come back and play.
Yeah, he will. I think after international break he will.
So
I think even maybe this week.
Might be able to get if someone's itchy feet about Richarlison wants to.
I would just hold Sané. I can't see in any way. If I had him, I would hold him. It's like Sterling for me right now. He's not starting every game. He's had some games where he hasn't played, but he's just way too early to. Who do you trade off with?
It's a long old season. We're only 3 weeks in.
Yeah, people are too keen to get rid right now. Yeah. Remember that Man City are probably going to finish top of the table, and those players are going to get you points. There is enough points to share there.
Next question from the same guy, Y Berlin. Alisson or Edison? It's very close. It's not really, for me, it's not really, they're both going to pretty much, I'm very surprised if either of them outscores the other one by a hell of a lot. I think they both get you clean sheets, both.
Liverpool look good at the back.
Liverpool look more comfortable at the back right now.
City have a better schedule right now. So for now.
Yeah, if you had, say they were both on the waiver and you had to pick one up right now, it would be Man City.
Yeah, Edison huge. Yeah,
but if we're talking rest of the season, I don't think there's much.
I don't know if he's trying to trade it or if he's just talking normal FPL. I'm going to assume he's talking normal FPL. In which case, then I would pick up Edison
probably. I think we saw what he does in terms of his passing and what in terms of thing.
Yeah, just the schedule's too much of a factor right now. When it gets into the nitty gritty, maybe not. But at the moment, I think the schedule's a major factor. And I would definitely just stick with Edison. Do you know who the highest scoring defender is right now?
Alonso, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's got goals and assists nearly every game.
Every single game. He is playing so much further forward. All this talk in pre-season about how he was getting... His position was going to change because new manager was going to come in and change the formation. It wasn't going to suit Alonso's play. And then he's actually fitted the system around that. Seri has literally made Alonso better than he was last year, which is mental. I really think it's going to be a struggle for anyone to catch Alonso this year.
I shouted Benjamin Mendy next week though. I think if anyone's going to catch him, it'll be Mendy because he's getting
if Trippier can stay fit. Trippier's absolutely balling a goal and assist.
And now he's on free. He'll be on some free kicks.
He's on free kicks.
Yeah, so
definitely him and Eriksen.
So I think you're looking probably 3 top defenders: Alonso,
those 3,
Mendy,
definitely.
and Trippier.
They're absolutely mad. I turned down a trade for Trippier.
Was that
when he was injured at the start?
I've
not had a good trade.
I had Oreo.
My trades have not been good. My trades have been bad, but I'm still top of the league, so I'm doing something right.
Another question from Richard. I think we've already kind of answered it though. It was West Ham, Felipe Anderson, Yarmolenko. What value do they have? Both off to slow starts.
Will they
come good?
But we think that they will increase in value. I think worth the stash if you can afford it.
Yeah, Anderson started picking up. Yarmolenko had a really good game yesterday. I mean, it was only over City Wimbledon. But
so do you think he comes in over Antonio?
Yeah, that's what most of the West Ham fans have been speaking to. They want him.
Antonio is such a fantasy baller. Yeah, he gets points. But that was because the first year when he actually went into that role, he was a defender, and then they moved him. I think that's what's coming to Alonso next year. He'll go down as a midfielder, which is mad.
Right. So we kind of answered that for you, Richard. If you want any more questions, mate, just chuck us a message when I answer it again. This was an interesting one actually. This was more of a conversation though, but
go on.
A company came in for Stones the other day, and it was for the second game.
Yeah.
Company started over. No, the second game. The one's just gone. I think.
Game week 3.
Yeah. Company obviously played ahead of Stones, and Morris on the bench again. Is this just pectation, or are we looking at what does it do for Otamendi owners?
Otamendi, I don't think holds relevance.
To be honest, I wouldn't even think Otamendi's going to be a trade value bait anymore. I think I think he is just completely droppable. You got Laporte, Stones, Company all ahead of him.
I think Laporte and Stones is the main centre back.
That's their main two. Company will come in here and there, especially with competitions coming in.
Yeah,
Otamendi will play the odd game.
Yeah, I think maybe we might see when the Champions League games that he gets some play. But trying to guess that is just madness. And also, you always run the risk of these with Pep is when they get so far, they start bringing those defensive players on, and you just don't get the point. Ben Davies was awful for owners this week. Comes on for Rose on like the 82nd minute or something. So you're not only not getting the 0 points and the substitution, you're getting the rotation in. Ben Davies comes on, he only gets you 1 point because he doesn't get the clean sheet because he's not on for long enough. And then you're like, oh, is it worth owning Ben Davies if it's going to be that rotation? Because I would have told people at the start of the season, as a Spurs fan, after what we've seen, Rose is not getting a sniff.
Yeah,
Ben Davies is the main guy.
I probably said about Toby after all the
and Toby.
Baz and Poch come out and said everyone's on a clean slate now, isn't it?
Yeah. And also Toby tweeted after the first game which he didn't feature in, let's bring the trophy to the new stadium, and you're like, but are you going to be with us, or are you looking to stay to Man United? But I think they're all set for the season. I think that is what the mentality, us versus them mentality at Spurs at the moment. But Ben Davies to be rotated with Rose, is Rose now going to start playing left wing back? Like, why was Rose playing that game?
And then obviously which you've already answered on Instagram, we've already just answered now, is obviously with Diddley Hole on Instagram. It's obviously the Sane, but you.
Oh yes, sorry mate. Yeah, so yeah, shout out to you as well, because that's the same question. So Sane's a big point. Ozil's been a point. Like, people are asking questions about the same players basically. So obviously a bit of concern, like people worrying about rotation and sort of, I don't know, like why is the focus on them? Another thing, I don't know is there any more questions?
No, I'm just trying to see if we have any more, but I think that's pretty much it. We answered Ozil, so obviously we had a good conversation with Jay Will on Twitter. Yeah. He was looking forward to our Ozil take, which we spoke about earlier.
Which we ended up agreeing on, which no one thought that was ever going to happen.
Big shout out to Jay Will. He's quite active with us on Twitter. Obviously we've got draft fantasy polls and the fantasy football chats. Want to give them a shout out. They've been quite supportive in what we've been doing as well. They've been quite involved. But it looks like got round to most talks. Elliot Black on Twitter, good guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Just want to plug the YouTube as well. Just put our first YouTube post up. It's our hot or flop, which if you follow us on Instagram, that's what we do often. Please excuse Jack being absolutely moody. Do you get what I've done?
He's such a miserable guy.
Miserable bastard. Maybe it's because he had to do most of the editing.
Maybe.
But yeah, give that a shout. That's the Draft Ninjas, or no, just Draft Ninjas, isn't it, on YouTube?
Yep, Draft Ninjas YouTube.
And obviously give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter, all Draft Ninjas.
It's at Draft Ninjas for
pretty much everything, isn't it?
I don't think
our email is our email. If you want to drop us an email, is the Draft
Ninjas at gmail.com.
Yeah. But yeah,
thanks for listening.
Cheers guys, and catch you next week.
Catch you next week. Bye.